Okay, my peeps. So, anime scholars, we got to talk about something real quick, and we got to talk about these special grade sorcerers, right? We got to talk about the special grade sorcerers in JJK. You know why we got to talk about them? Because I got a video out there, right? I got a video that talks about them ranked and explained by their strength versus each other, like if they were in a battle royal, right? Now, I said to y'all in that same video, I said we could either rank them by how they would fend versus each other, or how they would do if they were trying to take over the planet and or just Japan, right? Now, here's my thing, right? Only Japan has cursed energy because of Tengen's barriers. What these sorcerers can do is they can take over either the world, because the world doesn't all have cursed energy, so they would not be able to fend themselves off against cursed energy, or they can take over Japan because Japan has cursed energy and they can monopolize the cursed energy in Japan, right? So one or the other they can do, right? For our purposes, let's just say they take over Japan first so that they could capitalize on the cursed energy and then they conquer the entire planet, right? How efficiently, how quickly, and can they even do that, you know? So we're going to touch on those 3 points, and we are going to rank and explain these guys by their capabilities of doing that. Starting off with number 4 is Yuta and Rika, right? We're gonna do them as a package deal, right? We're not gonna separate them. We're gonna do them as a package because Yuta can get majority of his cursed energy by using Rika for the 5-minute timer that he gets with Rika, right? So 5-minute timer where he could fully manifest Rika, and Rika allots him like an immense amount of cursed energy because he has his pool, which is huge, but then he also gets Rika's pool of cursed energy, which is also massive. So now he's got way more cursed energy. And if you had to compare his cursed energy to like somebody like Sukuna's, then Sukuna has at least twice the amount that Yuta has, and Yuta has more cursed energy than all the sorcerers in Japan. All of them, including Miguel, who's in Africa. But the reason that I bring up conquering the world is because, you know, we have select people who have cursed energy in other portions of the world, just not the entire country has cursed energy. Like Miguel, for example. Foreign sorcerers are a thing, they're just not that common, if you will. That being said, Yuta and Rika, they would have a tough time conquering the planet. I'm not gonna lie to you. Japan, maybe not so much, right? And obviously, we're talking about this like they wouldn't have to go up against the other special grade Jujutsu sorcerers. Maybe their students, or maybe they would have to go up against the cursed spirits, or obviously they would have to go up against the cursed spirits if they really want to capitalize on Japan. But you got to think here, right? Like if I just said, oh, you have to beat the other special grades, then we'd just be doing a recap of the other video and Gojo would win every single list because then they would never be able to beat Gojo, right? So we're not going to do it like they have to go up against the other 3 on this list, right? So Yuta wouldn't have to go up against Gato, Gojo, Yuki. No, just no. Imagine it like this, right? Imagine it that they just don't exist in for our purposes. So Yuta, he would have a tough time being able to efficiently and quickly conquer the Japan, let alone the entire world. And the reason I say that is because Yuta wouldn't be able to cover much ground to begin with. Although he does have Rika, he only has a 5-minute timer with her for his massive pool of curse energy with her. However, I don't think there's anybody who could push Yuta. If we take away the other 3 names, I don't think there's anybody that could really push Yuta to the point where he wouldn't be able to beat them, or he would have to use the 5-minute timer. However, caveat to that, Kenjaku is still walking around, and the disaster curse spirits are still walking around. However, I don't think that they pose a threat to Yuta whatsoever, especially not to Yuta and Rika. But Kenjaku, he was beat by Yuta, but that was a surprise feat, and Toto helped him. I don't think it would have ended up the same way if Kenjaku knew Yuta was right there and had the ability to react to Toto's boogie woogie technique that moved Yuta from one spot to the other, because Kenjaku was going to hit him with some anti-gravity, and that was going to hurt. That was going to hurt bad. But yeah, so Yuta, even if you don't even include Kenjaku, I still think there's enough sorcerers out there, and Yuta just doesn't have the kit that would allow him to take over an entire world. He just doesn't have the kit. He has a massive pool of cursed energy, but what does that matter if I carpet bomb you or if I hit you with a nuke? Because you're not surviving that. Sure, you can reinforce yourself with cursed energy, and sure, you can go ahead and use reverse curse technique. Absolutely, you can. Absolutely. But we've seen you to go to the absolute limit fighting that one incarnated sorcerer who used Granite Blast. I forgot his name. I think it was Ryu or something like that. We saw him go to his limit fighting him. Sure, he was fighting like a three-way fight right there. And sure, he was exhausted and he wasn't really using RCT. But he still was struggling towards the end where he was pretty much tired out. Um, and if that's just one dude who has like a cursed energy beam, imagine like going up against like the United States Army or freaking every single army in the country. I mean, like, Yuta's strong, don't get me wrong. When it's sorcerer versus sorcerer, Yuta's gonna win 9.99999 times out of 10. However, when it comes to battling a conventional weaponry army and multiple of them, plus, the Air Force, I don't think that Yuta is going to be able to manage a efficient way of taking over. And now, Japan, if we're only talking about taking out cursed spirits and sorcerers, he probably can take over Jujutsu Society as a whole, but just by himself. He probably can take over the entire Jujutsu Society. I'm talking he could eliminate the Kamo, the Zenin, and the Gojo clan. Now, moving on to our next entry on this list. So we got number 3, which is Yuki, alright? So Yuki is a cool one because Yuki's using her Star Rage in order to create virtual mass. And that basically means that anything that she punches is going to crumble away, right? What do I mean by that? She used Garuda, her Shikigami. She balled it up and threw it at a special grade cursed spirit that Gato, Kenjaku had. And guess what? Special grades, you're supposed to basically pray that a carpet bombing of cluster bombs would take it out. So using virtual mass and it absolutely wiped out the special grade. Yeah, I think that she's gonna be fine versus most weaponry that she faces off against. Like, she'd be able to absolutely decimate tanks and whatnot. She's also been traveling the countries. She's also studied very well. She's well known in Jujutsu Society. Basically, any of these sorcerers can take over the Jujutsu Society. Can they go past that? I think that Yuki has a strong chance. I really do. I think that she could take over a couple countries. And also, don't get me wrong, Yuta could definitely take over a couple small nations. He's just not taking over the world. Same thing with Yuki. I think she had 100% could take over a couple small nations. I don't think she's taking over the world, though. Eventually, she's going to run out of curse energy. She doesn't have as big as a pool as Yuta does. So I think Yuta would be able to... I think he would probably take over more nations, and I think that he would do it in less amount of time, but as efficiently, no. I think he's gonna struggle every single battle. Where I think Yuki's not gonna she's gonna take a little bit longer, but she's not gonna struggle at all because of her virtual mass, and also because you have the potential of creating a black hole whenever you want by just absorbing more virtual mass than you can handle. So if you threaten the United Nations with the fact that like you can just create a black hole and wipe out all of the world, then yes, you're gonna have the fear factor where basically it makes most countries submit just off of that. So yeah, Yuki, I'm gonna give it to you. You probably can trick your way up to the top. I say that you are borderline taking over the planet. You're more than likely probably taking over at least 2 continents. I would say you probably took 2 continents. Good on you, but I don't think she's taking over the entire world. Now, if we're looking at Gojo here, that's a different story because Yuki's able to, off herself by creating the black hole. Gojo can just create black holes and basically use 0 cursed energy to do so. So he could send a couple blues to anywhere he wants, and then he could absolutely wipe them out, right? Or he could send a purple and wipe out islands, right? Being said, I definitely think that Gojo has the capabilities of taking over the planet. Would he? Yeah, he's pretty crazy. He would probably be able to do it. Even if he was just using his domain expansion in the UN or wherever, he would be able to like just vegetate most people. He could use red to absolutely obliterate cities after cities. We saw that at the end of the fight with Sukuna. He was able to just use purple without shooting it at a specific object and basically use it as an area attack, and that wipes out an entire city. So yes, I do think that Gojo wouldn't have a struggle when it comes to taking over a planet. So I think that he's a strong number 2. Would he do it the most efficient way possible? No. Would it take that long for him? No. but he would do it faster and more efficiently than the other two on this list. But would he be the most efficient and quickest way to conquering the planet? Some may argue that his teleportation would make it a bigger factor, but what if I had to tell you that somebody could take over the planet without being at every single country? He could do it all at once as long as he had the prep time to do it, right? What if I told you that person was able to send 1,000 cursed spirits to one town, 1,000 cursed spirits to another town, and then also use over 4,000 cursed spirits in one blast, right? What if I told you that that person could have special grade cursed spirits as his generals, kind of how like Sung Jin Woo has generals on his shadow army, and he's able to have them stay in certain locations and fight battles that he doesn't need to be there for? What if I told you there was somebody like that in JJK who's also extremely powerful when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, but doesn't need to imply that, but it can use cursed tools and had a plethora of cursed tools because he has a cursed spirit that can basically inventorized all those cursed tools. He could just keep it in the cursed spirit, and then he has access to all of them. He has a domain expansion. We just didn't see it yet. We do think it's the one that Kenjaku used, but we don't know for sure. And he's just got a massive pool of cursed energy, because at the end of the day, how are you going to keep all those cursed spirits if you don't have a massive pool of cursed energy? And also, use this as an example if you don't believe me. Kenjaku summoned over 10 million cursed spirits towards the end of season 2. That was Gato's technique. There's obviously not a cap. If he's summoning 10 million, there's not a cap. You're not going to lie to me and tell me there's a cap for curse manipulation. Obviously, you can summon as many cursed spirits as you want. So, that being said, if I were to summon over 1,billion cursed spirits, and yes, I'm assuming that like he could get that high, because cursed spirits, like there's high seasons and there's low seasons. The fact that that's a thing tells me that we know when cursed spirits are going to start appearing all the time, and that's during summertime, I think it is, they said. This list isn't saying that these sorcerers are ranked in strength versus each other. Again, these sorcerers are who can efficiently and quickly take over the planet and or just Japan. This is the order of which they can accomplish that. Yes, I do think that Yuta can take over some nations. I just don't think he could take all of it. I think that Yuki could take over some nations. I just don't think she could take over all of it unless she threatened them that she could make a black hole right there and then and destroy the planet. I do think Gojo doesn't even need to threaten anybody. I think he honestly could just be an insane person and just wipe out the planet. And then Gato, I think that he could summon cursed spirits and take over the entire planet by just summoning them at those locations. Kind of have like in that one Superman Justice League movie where Darkseid just started opening the portals to let his what are they called, the Doom things or something like that. He just basically opened all the portals to all these different locations on the planet and basically took over the planet within like what, a year. Yeah, what's stopping Gato from doing that? There's no reason that he needs to actually be at the location of where he summoned the cursed spirit. He could just summon them in all these different locations, and then he could, guess what, just have them attack everybody until he conquers each individual country, and then he's good. You see how that's way more efficient and in a way timelier manner than Gojo teleporting from place to place to place to place, kind of like how Goku Black was, like just like, you know, like going from here to here to here and just wiping out civilians. Yeah, no, instead of doing that, how about you just summon all these curses to these locations and just wipe everybody out? And again, if you don't have cursed energy, you can't see curses, so they could just be getting taken out by what they perceive as imaginary beings that aren't really there, but they are there, and you just can't see them. And that could be Gato's situation, and he could just wipe out armies. I mean, like, we saw that one cursed spirit was using anti-gravity versus the best of the best special forces that America had to offer in the manga versus Kenjaku, and Kenjaku made a mockery of them. So, that being said, right, I think Gato would have it. I think Gato would genuinely have it, because if you're taking out America, then you're clearly going to take out the rest of the countries, right? So it might be America glazed, but like, I mean, like, our Air Force is insane, and if you could take those boys out, yeah, no, Gato would have it. So I wholeheartedly think number one on this list is Gato. And like the way I ordered them before, I'm pretty sure it was Gojo at number one, Yuta at number two, Yuki at number three, which she stayed at number three, and then Gato as number four. Because he lost to Yuta, and I'm pretty sure that's how I ordered it. I don't know. Go watch that video and let me know. But anyways, if you like this video, like, subscribe, hit the noti bell, comment. I love it when I have conversations with you guys. It's honestly amazing. And yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.